The offlane morph. ASUS Polar have run it a few times in the past. They're currently sitting at 3-1 with it, so they do have a good pit. DK Phobos is going to be playing that.
I think it can go either way. We can end up just having duel on duel lane in the mid. Like, that's probably what we're going to end up having. At which point I give the advantage to Empire, because Living Armor is still going to give that little bit extra advantage to Empire when they go and play it.
If you do that, though, you leave the Morphling to be able to get a good amount of experience in the offlane, which is a bit dangerous. Are they running an aggro?
Yeah, it's the aggro trialing I was talking about.
Aggro trialing with the Wisp. I mean, they're dodging it, obviously. Sorry, they're dodging.
You're talking about ASUS running an aggro trial lane.
Yeah, I think they're dodging Empire. So there's two different ways that ASUS
Polar... really working, though, because you don't have any kind of control over the Phoenix. You're not going to find a kill here, while Empire's lineup has a lot of kill potential and jungle shutdown potential.
Yeah, it's... I mean, the supports aren't that Like, the supports are pretty defensive on the side of Empire. I really thought that both sides were going to go defensive tri-lane, but I guess with the Luna they feel confident enough, or...
30 seconds to battle.
I mean, it's just so weird. So there are two different ways, regardless of however this happens with the whole tri-lane scenario, the mid is going to be what determines this game. And unless some crazy things happen with the tri-lanes, it all comes down to the mid, and that lane determines how strong the 15 to 25 minute part is going to be for ASUS Polar. So there's two different ways you can run this. Does FNG sit in middle and give regeneration to the Lina and stack up mid, which is so common to see dual lane Wisp? Or does the Skywrath Mage come into middle lane and try and zone out the Queen of Pain at level 1 with the constant Arcane Bolt harassment? It looks like they're going to go for the former strat, which is fine. Aloha Dance.
It's a transfer to FNG, because FNG's come back a little bit further. This isn't the first time Aloha Dance has tried this as a Treant, and it definitely won't be the last. He was just looking for the sniper from the courier. You realize the 100 rune comes in, so either it's a set of tangos going the way of Lina, or it's a bottle coming in the way of the Wisp.
So ends up being dual lanes, Witch Doctor the top lane with the Phoenix, the Treant Protector will be helping out Silent versus Phobos, because you can't afford the Lina to 1v1 at level 1. That's too much. If you can start getting some level advantage, you get to like level 5, then you're fine. Ooh, wow.
Okay, yeah, so there's a first blood happening. Yoki's not looking too healthy either, as he's going to go back behind the tower, so it's both the Phoenix as well as the Witch Doctor dying. I honestly thought it was going to be the bottom lane, which is where I was watching.
Yeah,
Phobos dropped down to 20 HP, 20% of his HP underneath the tower, but it was the aggro trialing of ASUS that goes to work.
Yeah, I was watching Phobos as well, being like just a little bit too aggressive as Aloha Dance came around. Obviously, he had the waveform to fall back on, so I wasn't expecting him to die, but I was just watching like, oh, you're going to take a good amount of damage there. But yeah, they get the Witch Doctor and Yoki. That is a very surprising thing, just because I'm not really sure what the Witch Doctor's play is in this lane. They do manage to get the Yoki pounce onto him, forcing out the Icarus dive.
Witch Doctor can't really do anything in this lane anyway, because if he wants to try and come in and harass them, you're still going up against a Bottle Wisp. He's going to go down and pick up a 2-minute rune right now, but he was able to spend all 3 of his bottle charges, and they could just give him shared tangos, which will bring the Slark back up, or the Skywrath back up, every single time. So you're not going to get an advantage in this lane as Empire. When you're also running around with the Treant Protector, who did go for Nature's Guise level 1, he was going for the Courier Snipe to just turn the tables in the mid. That was the goal. It didn't work, which means then there was no living armor for any of the lanes, including top, including bottom, including mid. So there was no early advantage in the first 2 minutes coming the way of Empire. At least from Treant. He was a fist bump guy into the Morphling, and that was all.
G know what's about. He knows that Aloha Dance is coming over. So he should be fine. Turns around. Oh, Resolution got to be careful. Light Strike Array.
There's a 2-point up in Slave, which he's going to throw. He doesn't reach Resolution.
That was a little odd that he didn't throw that right away, but I guess he really wanted the CS and the harassment. Finally, the tree goes up to top lane, leaving bottom lane. Luna level 3 Morphling about to pick up level 3.
They go on Skywrath Mage, leveled up Elite Season opposed to Living Armor, but with the Icarus dive in, the sprites, he's doing as much damage as he can, but FNG slowing down Yoki, allowing the Skywrath Mage to turn into the battle while always on a flying, being controlled up by the Slark. So they've lost 1 and they've lost 2. FNG's on the run, he's got to tether away into Invis on the Treant Protector. They're keeping him slowed up, hoping to go for the blind Dark Pack, but Aloha Dance will run away, and Empire's safe lane is getting completely crushed by Polar.
Yeah, this is this is pretty bad to watch, especially when middle lane. I mean, resolution's pretty low right now. I'm still waiting for just someone to catch someone out in mid, and it seems like God is leading the advantage in harassment anyway. Another dive, forced down on the Phoenix.
Yoki only just got back up here. He's going to have to use his salve, and like every time he pounds us, he has to Icarus dive away. I mean, he spent a long time hitting him, because if you look at the build from the Skywrath Mage, they put 2 points up into the seal. They're just looking for that control to let Illidan go to work.
So the laning phase was something that just was... The decisions weren't anything that I expected. So this turnaround is a bit interesting, but it's basically Empire who are now the ones forcing attention away from their carry instead of the other way around. Yeah. Silent is getting total free farm in this bottom lane, and he's keeping Phobos at bay because...
The fact that there's like 3 CS on Phobos, he's got nothing to work with.
Yeah.
And now they're going to go from middle. So God, no escape mechanism on this guy. 4 hero gank from Empire. So while the top lane might have been going horrendously, farm at the bottom, and now God will drop.
So while things are definitely going well for ASUS, and I'm not going to try and spin it any other way, it does make me concerned because the Morphling isn't getting much, which is not terrible, but it's more about like, okay, they just got that gank off on the Lina, and the Lina is really your determiner for aggression 15 or 25 minutes. Even if the Slark does get a good amount of farm early on, he's still probably going to be going for a Midas build, which leaves him pretty passive in the in that transitional period. So at that point, yes, ASUS Polar are going to be ahead on the Slark, but is their Lina really going to be able to do that much more for them?
Phobos is actually dead. It doesn't matter that he's got Wayfall away, because you got Icarus diving Phoenix who already threw the sprites on him. You will have some movement coming in from the Skywrath Mage and Yoki.
Nice,
that's
juke.
Really good. That's nice. Just a cup through the side tree. And that meant the Skywrath Mage didn't know exactly where he was. I don't think he was in trouble anyway. Skywrath Mage would have done some level of harassment, but it would have stopped there.
But I think that like this early game is a really good example of the strength and weaknesses that I was talking about for Empire. Like just that individual play, Yoki cutting through that tree and going right, was a nice individual, like very strong pub play, essentially. Like that was his individual outplay, right? But in the end, Empire is still being outplayed as a team versus ASUS by that whole aggro try scenario. Empire did not react correctly to the decisions that ASUS Polar made, and they're paying for it in the early game.
Well, they're going to pay for it a little bit more. Skywrath Mage being initiated on. Resolution's going to come in a Sonic Wave committal. He's not going to need it. Skywrath Mage is going to drop.
Always Wanna Fly is going to go down in the top lane, though. Illidan manages to get the pounce onto him, and he is beginning to farm up a Storm. This is going to be a super early Midas. I mean, this is an early Midas that some heroes get just straight up AFK farming and straight Midas. But he's actually has treads. Orb of Venom is going for kills and is still going to have a Midas by 7 minutes.
Top tower is under attack.
I still want to see his transition to the next big item, because Empire moving across the map. Sure, he just managed to get a kill on the support hero, but Empire's going to get to a point soon where they're going to start to force out the lanes. And Resolution on this Invis, he's going to catch up to Illidan, but FNG, there's a Sonic Wave with a Scream as well. There's not enough to kill off the Wisp. He's still got one more bomb charge there, but the Queen of Pain will get the kill. A Paralyzing Cast to slow down the Slark, and it might even be a double. He's already used a Scream and blink away to safety. And Witch Doctor in for an attack, but they can't finish the job. So they do get the kill over on the Wisp, and they just restrict Slark's movements for the moment. But he is level 6, so he'll regenerate quickly.
Man, if that Queen of Pain was there just a little bit sooner, that would have been a double. He had the opportunity there, just like even just a half a second sooner before that heal started kicking into play to get the quick kill on Slark. Always Wanna Fly, dead again.
Yeah, Paralyzing Cast could buy him a little bit of time, but the Dark Pact, the spill damage from that is just too much. So 6-4, the Slark's managing to get 4 kills already for no deaths. And the full hand of ice is coming out in the courier. It's going to be a little bit delayed because it's moving towards the mid. To hand over God's, what is that? It's his treads. And there's also boots on for Phobos there.
And bottom, they are getting some damage out of Phobos. I doubt the Phoenix is going to be enough to get this kill, but maybe they can run him down. Silence.
If Silent can get that Lucid Beam, then they've got enough damage. Even with the Strength Morph, because Phobos is out of mana. And that was the critical part. No more Strength Morphing available. He already used his waveform, which they baited out nicely.
So Empire's still kind of like feeding away Always Wanna Fly a few times too many, but the reactions now to this change-up of lanes are way better. basically, you look at the heroes of Wisp and Skyrath Mage, they're not really
Dire's top
rotational
tower
heroes.
has
They
fallen.
don't have any disables.
Radiant's
Heroes that
bottom
can
tower
respond
has
to
fallen.
aggression are heroes that are able to have disables, right? So if you dive a tower, you're caught because Rubik gets a telekinesis on you and you're held under the tower for a while. That's very important. These
Dire's
heroes do
middle
not
tower
provide
is
those kind of
under attack.
disables, right? The slow, the silence, they're not really those kind of reactionary TP kind of heroes. So
Yeah.
basically what Empire are doing is just forcing aggression in middle and bottom, and the Wisp and Skyrath Mage can't do anything to stop it.
They're just playing it right for this time of the game. Looks like Polar moving
Radiant's
their
bottom
attention into the
tower
Team
is
1
under
tower
attack.
in mid. But Lower Dance is already here. Surprisingly, he's not using his living armor to either regenerate himself or bring up that Tier 1 tower.
Yeah, it probably feels like he may need the living armor at a moment's notice to save resolution. But
They're all
there was
backed
no
up
go.
Now it's time to living armor up these buildings.
Yeah, it seemed like both teams were kind of baiting out their mid, essentially. Like Empire trying to sneak in for the gank, while ASUS Polar were baiting out their Lina, waiting for someone to go on her.
Doesn't happen though. Top lane, Illidan, having to hide in the trees while he regenerates up. The Silent and Aloha Dance are right on top of each other. So they'll expect there's more support here, but they're going to go for Aloha Dance. He jumps into the invis and then try to turn for the lead scene. Just to manage to at least blow the dust. The Silent's in close, Phobos coming in for the stun, but the Eclipse from Silent. Slark hiding inside that Shadow Dance, so there's no direct damage being dealt out here by Silent, trying to turn around for one last Lucid Beam to kill off Illidan. He isn't able to get it off though, but Yoki, and always want to fly, they have to team up. Yoki, another long stun, that strength up on Phobos, causing practically a roar, but the Nova is already available. Always want to fly will die. The Feast will come back to the World of Living. It's a 2-for-2 trade-off. A core and a support for a core and a support.
Radiant's
God
bottom
doesn't have this
tower
Laguna
is
Blade.
under
He used to
attack.
actually help get one of these kills.
Yeah,
Be a little bit more careful up against Yoki, but Yoki's not going to have a bar, but TP's himself away to safety.
Yeah, without Phobos having any mana for another stun, they're just not possible for them to get that kill. FNG needs to finish up his level 6. I like this prioritization by his team to give him relocate because, again, they're not reactionary TP heroes, right? The supports can't do that. But once you get relocate, you can bring your core to actually respond to that dive in a tower. So that now gives them a lot more options. Empire are going to have to stifle their aggression a bit. No more diving towers. Now we're getting into this very weird phase where you don't really know where anybody's going to be. The set of, like, your mid player is mid, your carry is farming up the safe lane, like, that's no longer there. Everyone's going to be kind of everywhere at this point.
I know where Empire is looking next, as far as the majority of their team up on top. They want these Tier 1 towers gone. They want them off the map. So Silent needs to stop farming for a moment and come and join the rest of his squad where Aloha Dance. Now she might be giving Aloha Dance a little bit more space to hit level 6. Having that overgrowth during the team fights might just be the control that Empire's looking for, because they also don't have the Death Ward up just yet. And when these things start arriving, then Empire can force the issue as 3 or 4 players together. Even with the relocating in Slark, there's going to be a large amount of damage and only really 3 heroes that can stop the Wish Doctor from channeling. And that's if they can get past the Treant.
Yeah,
I don't want to control up heroes like Quap and Luna.
I would say the overgrowth is even more important just because it allows the Phoenix to fearlessly dive in knowing that, you know, unless there's immediate dark pacting Slark, that egg will survive, get off the explosion. So they can win some big fights potentially with those ultimates in conjunction with each other.
Dire's bottom
And
tower
if they
is
can
under
do that
attack.
and push down some towers, now this becomes the decision-making time, right? Do you start the 5-man death ball early and potentially run out of steam? Or do you continue to try and farm up? And it seems like Empire feel it's time to group and go for the death ball now.
It's death ball time, man. Like, even without your ultimates, you can find these pickoffs, or you can go for something like this. So Silent's going to get rid of that little wisp illusion inside the pit, which means now they're going to start over on Roshan.
Dire's
They do
middle
have enough
tower
damage
is
for
under
this, with the
attack.
2 points up and the aura and the regeneration from both Trine as well as Witch Doctor. They got enough to survive this. And Resolution staying close enough that he can come and help out the rest of his teammates if required to. In fact, he's already going to blink in and help them.
Now, ASUS Polar know about this, but I think they just generally assume that the team fight is too strong, right? Luna's ultimate, amazing in team fights. You've got a Queen of Pain who has her level 2 Sonic Wave,
Dire's
and the
top
Phoenix
tower
Egg is
is
ready to
under
go.
attack.
They say it's not worth the risk, right? So since Empire basically making the decision, we're going to 5-man death ball, you just have to stay away from that death ball. If they're going to take towers, you split push and try and take as many towers in return.
Their issue is they can't split push that well unless you do what Illidan just did, which is Dark Pack the creep wave to get around it. Okay, we got a little bit of trouble here for Lil as he's stuck on the bottom lane. Resolution, okay, there will be a jump in. Sonic Wave is not enough damage to get a lose the Nova, and Resolution just committed way too hard into that. The relocate brought in Illidan, then they had all the attack speed they needed by having that Wisp and Slark together.
Yes.
Nova was never going to work, and the only way it was is if he could have gotten rid of the Wisp, but the damage wasn't enough from Resolution. That's why he committed. It was either 2 or 0, that was what they're going to get.
Great reaction there from the Skyreth Mage. Good communication, it seems, as ASUS Polar. Some of the miscommunications that I've seen in the past definitely didn't happen there. That was a team reaction, right? Skyreth says, Quap's going on me, I silence her up, you guys TP it.
Always want to fly some trouble. He needs to make a big miss right now with the lead seed. Illidan being controlled. Overgrow is still available as they go into that Eclipse. Is able to bring down the Wisp. The pounds away from Illidan will get him out to safety. He's got Shadow Dance up in 10 seconds time, and there's no way for Empire to keep this chase going. They need to get back and defend that tier 1 tower. They never had time to regenerate it up, or at least never took time. As Stream Protect now is going to Invis, Living Armor. Doesn't have the Invis, in fact, never cast it. Will end up going down to Illidan, who will pounce himself away to safety.
Nice jukes around by Illidan. Very smartly played, seeing the opportunity to make that turn and still getting out the optimal way. Meanwhile, DK Phobos has been getting some farm. And he's like basically going to be setting up so much of the Skyreth Mage and Lina, right? The typical combination is going to be Bat Rider or Clockwork with the Skyreth Mage, but Morphling works really well. I mean, you've got this 4.25 second stun at hand. That's more than enough time for the Skyreth Mage from long range to drop that Mystic Flare.
Yep.
Practically a guaranteed solo kill. I mean, the quick damage over time, like the small bits of damage, eat through living armor really quickly, so that's not that much of a threat. Same goes with the Slark's Dark Pact. So there is not many ways they can really save that hero, unless it's living armor and they have Voodoo Restoration nearby. Chances are these squishy Empire heroes are going to die.
So how does Empire get around that? Apart from being as a team or having 5 acres on every single player. That's...
I mean, at this point in time, it's stacking up for Silent to get some more farm. He needs to finish up his Yasha, then go the BKB. Right? Once you have the BKB, you pretty much guarantee win team fights if you hadn't already.
It seems like a really bad hill to push up, though. Like, getting Silent farm, sure, but your problem is this Slark, you're never going to keep up with him. He's running this hand of
they caught him.
Keep having pickoffs like this. Resolution cannot blink himself away. They commit both the Lacuna Blade and that Mystic Flare to get the kills. They're relocating it on Aloha Den. He'll go in there, throw out the ult with the paralyzing cast. They're not going to commit into the Death Ward, however. Yuki was in the neighborhood, but without that Sonic Wave, without the Scream, there's not enough damage. But Illidan, he wants to keep going. They have the Dust on Tree and Protector. The relocate will pull him out of the fight, however.
Straight back up to the top lane. Continue to farm. I love this SNY build, by the way, from Slark. I was going to discuss this in the draft. I feel this is one of the few games that you need to go SNY. Shadow Blade, Blink Dagger are not possibilities here, solely because you know Empire are going to try and deathball you at some point in time, so you need Slark to have stats to team fight. And while the threat of Empire Deathball has really been mitigated by ASUS's very strong play in the early game, it's still there. Yep. So I think this was the optimal item choice. Even though you kind of look at it and you go, well, Shadowblade would be good right now. Look how spread apart everyone is. Just strategy-wise, SNY was the build. Just because they happen to do better than expected in the early game and are preventing Empire from doing much, still means that strategy-wise, SNY was the go.
Yeah, because you want the early game momentum items that let you carry through into a heavy mid-game.
Yeah, Slark is totally countered by 5-manning, right? Yep. Because he can't split push well, and he's not a great team fighter early because he gets bursted down by AoE. So the best way to counteract that, you know, the cons of your hero is basically shore up those weak points.
That's what they managed to do, because now his push up on top lane forced Empire to rotate up a hell of a lot of heroes. In fact, they're coming up here for the kill on Illidan, but there's no way they can catch him. He's just too much of a slippery fish at the moment. And when he loses his ultimate, where he, like, in that position where he was, he's going to realize he's being watched by a fresh observer.
Oh, they see Lil. Silent is trying to get him with the ultimate, but
Yeah, Lucent Beam just to slow him down. I don't think he can let off the full Eclipse here. But with the sprites and then one more Lucent Beam, he's going to have the kill. In fact, Skywrath Mage, yeah, there's no Roshan to deny yourself to, but he can turn for a quick Mystic Flare, do as much damage to Silence. Oh, the Adaptive! It pushed him up to the...
That is beautiful. Well played, Phobos.
He bought a TP scroll, but the courier is currently halfway down delivering Sentry Ward, so Silent is currently trapped up on top of this hill with nothing more to do with them.
Oh, is he going to do what I think he's doing? He pulls the Alpha Wolf, pulls the Ancients over to the side, and he can farm them from the cliff. That would actually be a really efficient way to make, like, a good use of a bad scenario is to Ancient farm that from high ground advantage. But decides against it, wants to be able to get to bottom lane to farm up some more.
Yeah. Not to mention he has to protect that tier 1 tower. Let the living armor starting to go to work again. And how we're looking from okay, so both the tier 1 towers in the mid and the bottom are fairly well injured. But they're focusing on repairing the tier 2 on top. As ASUS, that's where they're keeping most of their pressure. FNG's finally going to get rid of that observer ward, so Illidan no longer being watched. And it's so hard as well for Empire to keep vision on the map when you got a hero like a Slark running around. So every time he slows down, he just knows it. He knows there's trouble. Resolution, wave the blink wave. The Dark Pack's gonna let Illidan break free of their paralyzing cast. Only by a fraction of a second, but it's a fraction of a second.
They bring Yoki up here.
They want to fight this.
Yeah.
They really want to fight this, but Empire's going to really regret trying to fight this because Morphling Wave forms in. There's your Adaptive Strike with the Mystic Flare. There's just no way to do anything about that because the second you get hit by the Adaptive Strike, you can't do anything. You're stunned for too long. Illidan's looking for the pounce to Witch Doctor. FNG gave more the movement speed he possibly could. That pounce is too far away. But he's going to at least get the Orb of Venom attack in, attacking pretty heavily. But also behind the lines, Silence coming up to FNG. He's got Tether available, tries to move far enough away. He can tether down to one of his own heroes, but cannot do it. Into the Eclipse for the moment. The Witch Doctor still does die inside the Dire base, but it's a low dance. Adaptive striked up, and Silence, sorry, he was the man adaptive, and he's going to get stunned. So 4 players lost for Empire.
Meanwhile, Illidan's still fighting inside the base. He got the Witch Doctor kill, but he's dealing with the resolution, and he will finally die. Illidan,
why didn't he bail?
Too greedy.
Why didn't he bail?
Greedy. I mean, he just so heavily committed for that Witch Doctor kill, and then FNG just kind of got left to the side. Fortunately, the rest of his allies responded beautifully. FNG puts himself in the corner, and the rest of his allies go, well, now that they're cornered, sure, we sacrifice our little ball of light, and we love him and everything, but it's worth it because we get the silent kill as well as the free Train Protector pickoffs. So, in the end, it's definitely worth it for ASUS Polar, just Illidan. His greed was kind of his own downfall, but his team's, it was beneficial for the team.
Well, let's see if they can keep pushing in. ASUS, they're able to get a big wipe. That tier 2 tower still remains, so for everything that Empire lost during that last fight, which is still quite a large amount if you look at the graphs, and like for Golden Experience, they're both still going up. But Empire still hold map control. They are still running a Train Protector lineup, which means any of this chip damage done to towers doesn't really mean that much until you bring down the tower. I know we're not really at a point with the whole lineup where you say they're looking to find kills, apart from that one on Witch Doctor, because it's a fresh Shadow Blade on the Lina. That's the first reveal of that one too. But ASUS want to try and find kills, but they can't find push. They don't have a lot of push power into buildings just yet.
They're going to get another one.
Oh my. With the chain stun and the waveform.
Morphling, all you need is levels. Nice pick off there from Resolution. Resolution, you got to give him a little praise because he's finding the small openings and he's also keeping a really good amount of farm. That he's one of the main reasons they're not totally out of this game, along with Silent doing a pretty good job farming as well. But they are very rapidly losing too much ground to ASUS Polar. Soon, Slark is going to be strong enough that it's going to be ASUS Polar's turn to do some like 5-banning and try and force some fights. And Empire, while they still have this good team fight strategy, may still lose.
They're going to need something better than what they've currently been throwing out during the fights if they are going to try and win one of these. They're going to try and smoke it in. Walk past, that's that's not what we're talking about.
Yeah, and they realize it too. They're like, oh, we are idiots.
Yeah, especially when Yoki's already dropping down to 1/3 of his HP. But look at God, he's right next to him. One Laguna Blade, he's gonna find the kill. And Shadow Blade, well, there's only a Eul Scepter available. Looking for the Lion Strike, the Ray getting stunned up, but in comes Illidan. They may lose God here, but the Death Wall's been blown out. Illidan, he can't. He currently orced up, so he's gonna pop from this, and that's what Empire needed. It looked like a horrendous start, but they end up getting a 3-for-1 trade-off. in their favor.
Greedy,
Radiant's bottom
ASUS
tower
Polar.
is under attack.
Their eyes are too big for their stomachs, man. That was them running in. That was... I mean, they spoiled themselves with that
Dire's
smoke.
middle tower is under attack.
And they went on the replicate.
Radiant's top tower is under
And then
attack.
ASUS Polar still gladly
Radiant
take
structures
what
are
they think
fortified.
is like a pick off and out or something. I don't even know. Like, the Lina just got so... She had blinders on, essentially. All she could see was,
Radiant's
look how
top
low
tower
health
has
the
fallen.
Phoenix is.
All I need is just one hit and I can get out of this
Yeah.
one.
Let me just one-shot him. It'll feel so good.
Maybe it's because it was the Shadow Blade from 2 years ago where the cooldown was amazing.
Yeah.
No, not anymore.
5-second downtime or something
That was
ridiculous.
so damn good, man.
Yeah. But that
Radiant's
means
middle
Empire now going
tower
to take
is
another
under
Roshan.
attack.
I mean, maybe. ASUS Polar can respawn.
They won't be able to get there in time. They might have one advantage, which is Street Protector killing himself. But then again, he's got 9 stick charges. Their teams do split up. They're on opposite sides of the map. Yes, you could potentially relocate in. But God's not
Roshan
ready to
has
go.
fallen
Aegis
to
Immortals in
die.
the hands of the Luna.
Dire's
And
middle tower
she
is under
also,
attack.
yep, that's from earlier. She's about to finish up her BKB with the Mithril Hammer. Resolution's already got his too. So Skywrath Mage, if Morphling does get the initial hit, then that's going to work for him. The Blink Dagger arrives over on a low hard dance. So they got a great overgrowth position with the immunity that's arrived.
You know, I was going to say, like, oh, look, ASUS Polar, they gave away such an advantage, and now they're going to have to spend a lot of time split pushing and such. But I think
Radiant's middle tower
with the
is
build
under
on
attack.
Illidan, they could fight.
Radiant
They
structures
really
are
could. If you
fortified.
get a BKB on this Slark, which I believe is what he's going, and I doubt it's Desolator.
Radiant's middle
I'll say
tower
BKB.
has fallen.
I mean, who knows? Maybe he's like,
Dire's
let's
top
go
tower
full
is
split
under
push,
attack.
baby, minus armor, go, go.
It's really a Mjolnir. That's what it
Radiant's
is.
middle
I-
tower is under
Yeah,
attack.
It's BKB.
Yeah, it's got to be BKB, right? Which means you can fight. So if Empire try and push uphill, and all of a sudden they're going into a BKB Slark who tanks up, you know, is able to deal with the Phoenix Egg really easily, is able to soak up some of the Luna's ultimate. Like, these sort of things start happening. Yeah,
It's gotta come back.
ASUS Polar will win the fight.
There's no fortification available for Empire, so Illidan's going to beat away at that tier 3 tower on
middle
top
tower
to at least
is
try and
under
get some
attack.
level of trade-off before they're going to relocate in. So
structures are
Silent's the
fortified.
first one to get stunned. I'm still waiting for that relocate timing. Silent can actually get living armored up. And while this
Dire's
Outlaw
top
sitting
tower
very,
is
very
under
far
attack.
back, the damage advantage is coming their way. So the relocate's on their way in. And, well, Joker's going to be the first one to drop. Got sealed and Mystic Flare. Silent triggers the BKB. He's going to get the revenge kill over on top of the Skywrath Mage until Illidan. Shadow Dance's time. BKB is still available. They get the extra stun over on Silent. The lockdown control for the Blinker for the Grim
God.
Protector. With the Death Ward, Illidan solo. One more attack. That's all he needed to do, but it's not going to reach him. So Gol will run himself
Dire's
away to
top
safety. Up
barracks are
through the
under
top.
attack.
Oh, they could turn around, get the stun under Resolution. They may lock him down here. Phobos with the follow-up stun. They get the kill on Resolution, and the rest of Empire will have to
Dire's
force
top
back.
barracks are under attack.
That was super close. ASUS Polar almost lost that fight because Illidan, he just came in, he tanked up some of the Eclipse unnecessarily. Maybe he catches Silent here. They could dive past the tower if they really wanted to, but deciding against it. In the end, a tier 3 for a tier 3, I call that a win for ASUS Polar, solely because they got Illidan out.
I'm just going to apologize. Well, the guys in the live stream, for some reason, our intake server connection just dropped for no apparent reason. So that little bit of a mid-fight was lost for the viewers. I'm sorry.
Well, at least we have a little bit of recap for you, which is ASUS Polar still ahead. They managed to, if they lose that fight, they're going to be forced into some buybacks and Empire start taking it seriously. But they barely hold on to it. Empire feed a little bit. And now it's ASUS Polar back to controlling the map because they know some of the big ultimates are down. There's no Luna ult, there's no Queen of Pain ult, there's no Witch Doctor ult.
Yep.
That means Empire cannot fight.
Dire's middle tower
They just have
has
to wait it
fallen.
out. But at the same time, as we've seen, Empire, they only need one big fight.
Dire's
And then they can
bottom
take a large
tower
amount
is
of map
under
control.
attack.
And potentially take a Rax next time around. But there is one thing that's going to be hurting them pretty hard. We're now racking up pure damage from that Laguna Blade.
Yeah, I don't think
Dire's
Empire
bottom
lost
tower
their
is under
early
attack.
control. There's no like 25 to 30 minute push now. Now it's just banking on late
Okay.
game top.
They're jumping up. They want resolution. They're going to get him as well, while at the same time, Empire's now going to move themselves into a position where they can try and battle against bottom, but it's a trap. God's waiting here, and so is Skywrath Mage. They are ready to go for this, so Tree Protector needs to get the control back. They only bring back FNG.
Yeah, because they're going for the Raxes. They already took the ranged Rax top. Sure, it might have looked like a good setup to go on the Wisp, but they're going to be able to get the first set of Raxes nice and early.
Oh, that's not going to work.
Nope.
They're too close in. The damage is going to be there. The Death Wall to fly out. The damage strike might have already been used, but the leap into a Dark Pack, Witch Doctor
nice
doesn't
cast.
have enough life for this. There is adaptive strike. As Silent tries to battle him, they would like to take the melee Rax, but there's not enough damage left anymore. There's going to be
Oh, Aloha Dance just got the Laguna Blade at bottom.
what happens when you're trying to run into the Radiant jungle.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
So, I mean, it's something very small, right? Range Rax, but this is a team that shouldn't be that far ahead to be able to take a Rax from you. Even if it is just a range Rax. ASUS Polar. Oh, now going for Silent. They really want this pickoff. Man, Empire just not responding well to DK Phobos Morphling. Silent is getting right-click down. They might actually be able to get this kill, as Always Wanna Fly can't do anything about the BKB Illidan. The rest of the team starts responding. They're going to be able to get ahead, pop DK Phobos with the ultimate, and they should be able to get Illidan as well. Keep him in sight, and they get this kill. Blocking the pounce, very nicely played by Resolution. Double kill for them. So, while they do get the kill on Silent, it costs ASUS Polar a pretty penny, but it's still ASUS Polar well ahead. You've got God pushing in the bottom lane. You have the supports kind of milling around, farming up middle, and doing whatever they can to get some more. Empire are keeping themselves in this game, but just barely.
Yeah. They need more than what they're getting at the moment.
Dire's bottom tower
At least
is
they don't
under
lose the
attack.
melee racks on top. That's the upside. Also, the guys on the live stream, if you do have a black screen, just hit Control F5, and you'll be fine on the live stream again. As we back up and smooth again. Still have no idea why we dropped.
Or Control Delete.
No!
It'll come back eventually.
Don't do that!
Oh, nice. Very aggressive word.
Okay.
Yogi's like, I'm a bird. I believe I can fly.
Actually, I think he just wanted someone to fly with him.
I guess
It's always bad when you fly alone.
Never fly solo.
Yep. Gotta fly with friends.
FNG is going to be going for a Vlad's here. DK Phobos is beginning to build into some actual right-click damage. Kind of interesting build, the Maelstrom, but it does allow him to farm up pretty quickly, I suppose. It also means, actually, if you think about it this way, as you go full strength mode, right, you're doing less and less right-click damage, but at the same time, it doesn't matter if you have a proccing ability. If you're proccing lightning, it doesn't matter what your agility rate is at. You could be doing 1 damage, but you're still doing the chain lightning proc.
At the same time, you could always just be building up into something more like a halberd, so you're able to stop, I don't want to say Luna after a BK beats off from attacking, or just having your own evasion with some higher strength, so longer stuns, or as much as you can get out of it.
I think this is kind of like the farming item for DK Phobos, right? Like, this is what's going to allow him to transition from, like, this really solid mid-game initiator to later on a hardcore carry, right next to the Slark. So, in that case, the Luna is outclassed by both the Slark, who is already a better carry than Luna, but also the Morphling. And no matter how strong the Queen of Pain is, Resolution, nice job.
BKB for this one with
Nice
the Sonic Wave, but the
relocate out.
relocate save out's going to save him. And FNG didn't go that far, so Illidan can already run back in here, regenerate up, and the rest of ASUS is waiting.
Oh,
Empire
they're
want to try
setting
and pounce and punish the relocate, but I don't believe they've got enough strength to do so because they've already tricked one of the BKBs. The jumping from below our dance into the Eclipse from Slark, going to come from the side. You need to attack pretty heavily. That Laguna Blade taking away so much of the life from Silent into a Nova as well, but they've already lost 2 of them. They're going to beat down the egg, crack it open on an Easter with the start to always on a flying man. I think it's almost GG. You're going to lose 2 sets of Raxes with just that one horrendous fight for Empire.
No, it really is GG. Illidan's about to finish up the full carry Slark, which is the Abyssal Blade. By that point in time, you have the lockdown necessary to kill anybody. So, they can't beat that out. Certainly not the Luna. Without a Butterfly, there's no way you can beat an Abyssal Blade Slark.
The upside is they still have the tier 2 towers, which is the only reason why I think that GNG has not been put together.
Yeah.
But they're still going to lose their tier 2 tower in the mid. Nothing will stop that.
It's basically Empire banking on, well, what if we win a fight, then we take Roshan, we get Aegis and Cheese, we go in, we win another fight, we get a Rax, and all of a sudden we're back in this game. But it's obviously a very, I wouldn't say totally preposterous series of events, but it's quite unlikely.
Well, miracles happen. This is a lot of Dota. But miracles like this for Polar, that's just a really nice craft for them. Solid performance. Remember, this is only game number 1. This is a best of 3 between Empire as well as Polar. The winner will find themselves LAN finals of Frankfurt. All they gotta do is win this game. That's all that's required of them. If not, they have to jump themselves into the lower bracket, where only one team will survive. Resolution. Oh man, if they time this right too, yeah, they got it perfect. Full Skywrath Mage damage with the waveform out. He had no time to BKB, so the seal wasn't going to do any work. And the buyback says none about for any player on the field.
Relocate up to the top lane. They're going to go ahead and catch out. Always want to fly. Free kill there.
Dead to the wall. They might find another one. Silencing too close. The BKB's already gone from Slark. But he's got the Abyssal Blade. The control of Silent just sticking out. All of his essence that is meant to belong to Silent. He'll break free with that Shadow Dance. Silent's going to drop here into the trees, try and juke it up. Successful. Illidan's getting body blocked. But at the same time, he's dealing out so much damage to Yoki as well as low Arden. Silent's going to TP out, but he's lost all of his friends. He is forever alone back at the base. And, well, now Polar can look towards the other towers.
Under attack.
Yeah, Silence hoping their sacrifice won't be in vain, but I'm telling you, Toby, it certainly is. It's not going to be a fight that Empire can stop. There's just too much bleeding. ASUS Polar are going to be able to take the middle tier 2, the bottom tier 2, and if they really want to play conservatively, they go Roshan before they go uphill.
I think they want to kill on Silent first. God doesn't have his Blink Dagger with the Shadow Blade. He's hoping to get in range for a Yule Scepter.
I mean, how do you deal with that? It's essentially at any point in time, you could be blinked, and then it's kind of like dealing with, I don't know, the Blink Earthshaker, right? The sort of instant disable that's available. That's what DK Phobos brings, and he doesn't even need a Blink Dagger, and it's for a longer duration than even the Earthshaker can provide sometimes, right? He pulls out his full combo, it's about 5 seconds. DK Phobos casually throws out one ability, and it's 4.25 seconds.
And then what do you even want to do? Like, do you go in there and try and kill him off? He's got 2k HP. And if he turns on the Lightning Shield, then you're probably going to inflict more damage to yourself than you will to him. But they're coming out now, Empire. This is the last YOLO play. They need a big kickoff, and they found Phobos with the Orchid into the lead sync. They need this Morphling dead. He's going to Yule Scepter up, which buys him time as a secondary Yule Scepter. He's got away from the Babel, and now down the path he goes, and Illidan, in he goes! The perfect jump. Resolution at least managed to get the kill over on Phobos. As Silence Eclipse is able to burn as well through the Skywrath Mage, but God, too much damage as far as his physical DPS. FSG's on the run, bottling up. It's a triple kill for Illidan. But 4 players are lost for Empire. I don't care if Illidan takes them all. There's just no more joy. 2 players down, at least Roshan's not dead.
Yeah, that's the thing though. They're like, well, who cares about Roshan? We could just win the game now.
You got your 2 primary sources of damage up and running. Laguna Blades off cooldown 18 seconds time as well. So Quap can't come anywhere near this lineup. Because if he gets Abyssal Blade, he's dead. It really is that simple. If he gets Yule Scepter, I think he is dead because there's no BKB available. So the stun's gonna be guaranteed for Polar.
Yeah, when you can't even like outright click the Lina, it's time to say goodnight, Charlie.
Well, TP's. Town's already gone. Hello, Ardens will go for the jump in, but Illidan's just quick and away. And Empire, they're not giving up, man. They refuse to give up. They believe in their team fight combo. You know, it could be magical. All they need to do is just find 5 men all sitting on top of each other. They'll get maledicted, get hit by Overgrowth, full Witch Doctor Alden, full Nova. The Lunar Eclipse does some decent work, but the Bouncing Glaive does the rest, and everyone gets hit by Sonic Wave. At Empire, win a team fight. It sounds amazing. It sounds completely plausible, doesn't it?
Yep.
Like, it's gonna happen.
Until the one button win is activated by ASUS Polar, and they just pop their BKBs, right? That's the biggest problem. Empire needed to be able to 5-man Deathball at some point in time, but do you go too early and potentially run out of steam and let ASUS Polar like split push and get a big jump in gold and especially experience on you? Or do you farm until you get your mid-game items, but then you risk fighting up against ASUS Polar's BKBs? And that is such a huge winner. I mean, the Queen of Pain change up to pure damage means a lot. She's a lot more effective now in team fights than she used to be because she was totally countered by BKBs, but it's still too much magic damage for Empire. Like, they are so dependent on magic damage that the BKB counters them entirely. Eclipse, done for. Overgrowth, half the time that's canceled out by BKBs. The Phoenix, all of that damage, except for the stun, all magic.
Jump in, a low on dance. Oh, he waited! He didn't get the overgrowth. He'll be trying to reposition himself, which means he got sealed. There was no control. The Phoenix will drop as well. Resolution has to blink himself away to safety while Silence on the wrong side of the river. God is at least stuck up on the hillside, but with one blink down, he's back to the world of the grounded. And Silence with BKB into the Eclipse. That's the YOLO play. He might be able to kill off FNG, but even then, that's the fight. Resolution with the blink stream will do the work. But Empire's lost too many again. It's just fight after fight after fight, which is going the way of Polar.
Yeah, Illidan was like, well, this is my last stand. And it was actually like a really good scenario to take, right? You get the surprise Eclipse, you get two heroes that your glaives are bouncing between. You don't get a better fighting scenario for the Luna by herself than that. And couldn't kill anybody. I mean, he got FNG, but inconsequential. DK Phobos, just all he has to do is pop the Cyclone.
Yeah.
Miss Sight the Vice there from the Queen of Pain is what cost him that kill. He accidentally made one of the creeps a piggy.
Immortality!
Things just not right. God. Okay.
Nom, nom, nom.
He drops the Aghanim Scepter to use the cheese. I was like, why is there an Aghanim Scepter on the ground? I think he really want to be doing that. Phobos got so much, even now racking up the armor with the plate mail. I'm trying to remain positive for a fun end to this game.
You can't, Toby.
I can't?
You can't.
Why can't
because
I?
Lena Aghanim Scepter is a direct counter to the squishy agility hero that relies on BKB, aka Gyrocopter and Luna, right? It's a direct counter to those heroes. Because you are a hero that doesn't have a whole lot of HP, and all of a sudden a huge whopping 950 damage nuke hits you in the face, right? Just that by itself is the counter, right? And then you have Slark, who is the counter to Luna as well. Invisible hero that you can't deal with, that is rapidly stealing away your stats, has better sustainability than you as the Luna, so he just eventually wins the man fight. You've got the Morphling, who is actually eventually going to turn into a carry. DK Phobos is kind of building this like whole, I think he's going to Self-Cuirass next, which makes him just the most tankiest of tanks, right? Yep. Like he goes full strength, has no armor, but then has an Assault Cuirass to make up for that lack of armor. Either that or Shiva's.
Yeah.
Either one or nice initiative.
I don't think you can have enough time to build either of them.
I don't think so either.
Because this push has already started on bottom. So Illidan gets to go disco. Hex, there's Resolution jumping in with the Death Ward and Nova. The combination actually isn't too bad. You also drop the Morphling. They do break the Aegis Immortal, but Illidan still in the middle of this fight, taking away Resolution. There's your bash chance into the Mystic Flare. Resolution's going to drop. But where are your buybacks right now? They just don't exist. Silence right underneath God. He just right-clicking. He might want to move up to the high ground before he tries to keep doing that. But your two primary cores are down for Empire. There are no buybacks available for their linebackers. There is one for the Luna, but it seems saving money is more worthwhile at this point.
Yeah.
And there it is, GG.
It doesn't get a better fight than that, Toby. It really doesn't. Like, Empire execution-wise did everything they could in that fight. I think they got the overgrowth on the Slark after he Dark Pacted, which means he didn't kill the Supernova, which means that stunned up the Slark and a couple other heroes. They took down the Skywrath Mage as well as the DK Phobos' Morphling early on, and yet they still couldn't win the fight. The Slark doesn't die, even though he's in the middle of the engagement, and then both God as well as FNG were sitting farther in the back. So in the end, Empire, even when things went kind of the best they could from their perspective when it came to the team fight,